Harihi Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Om. Welcome to the class today. We are in chapter 1, Shloka number 41. The Shloka goes like this. Adharmabhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyah strishu dushtashu varshneya jayate varna sankarah. So we know we are at the point where Arjuna is lamenting. What happens is the war is about to start. At that time, he directs Lord Krishna to take the chariot between the two warring groups and place it so that he can take a look at them. But when he looks at them, he sees the acharyas, the pitama, and all the other relatives and friends and every kind of person whom he knows, without whom for him life has no purpose. That is the extent to which he gets totally emotionally subdued. And once you are emotionally attacked, you lose the consciousness of your own self. You lose the rationality. And out of this irrational expression, all of these words are coming. Now, what he says is adharmam, which is the unrighteousness, abhibhavat. It overcomes, it overwhelms, it becomes very predominant. It totally envelops the dharma, right? Krishna, O Lord Krishna, pradushyanti, becomes polluted. This is a common word, right? Pradushan is still a common word in use. So becomes polluted. They deteriorate. Kulastriyah, the female in the lineage of the family, the kul. Strishu dushtashu, upon the women becoming degraded or polluted. Varshnaye, O Lord Krishna, one who is the descendant of the Vrishni Kul. Jayate Varna Sankaraha, means if the Varna Sankaraha is mixing of the Varnas, they come into being. So as I said, don't take this as being said in Bhagavad Gita. It is said in Bhagavad Gita by a person who is lamenting and who has not been able to distinguish properly between dharma and adharma. So if you take a look at this, first thing is Arjuna expressed his ignorance very clearly in this shloka. Varna is based on gun and karma. Right? Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhakashah. This comes in the 4th chapter. Bhagavan will say about this also. It is totally based on gun and karma. However, in the society, somehow it has come into the family lineage. And I think it is very natural as well because of the human weaknesses. And also because a child is exposed to father's activity and naturally the child gets attracted to those activities. Right. So that is one of the reasons why that Varna has gone into the birth related stuff. But as per Bhagavan and as per Shastra, it is only based on gun and karma. If you take a look at Mahabharata itself, in his own lineage, Arjuna's great grandmother is a fisherman's daughter, Satyavati, right? Wife of King Shantanu, right? Our tradition includes the Karana Sharir. right? Which is, basically the Niyoga of Amba and Ambalika for the possibility of impact and stretching it to us in terms of our own next birth, right? So it is not the, what do you say, how can we put it? It is not the Varna, the Guna and Karma that get transcended. It is in the Karana Sharir and from the Karana Sharir that individual is born with such gun which makes him a Kshatriya or which makes him a Shudra. So we need to understand that, and that core nature is there in everybody. And when that core nature is aligned with the activity that you perform, not only the activity is successful, but the person who is performing also has the peace, and the contribution that such a person makes to the society is also very impactful. So we need to understand that to identify that guna karma in us and pursue that which aligns with our gun and karma is the means to a successful life, not as in material success, but a peace of mind success, which no material can bring. In this shloka, we identify Arjuna getting anxiety disorder. And we will see all those things being expressed by him. In the scientific research, they say that when a person becomes anxious, there is an increased heartbeat, which is the stula avastha, meaning the physical aspect is the increase in heartbeat. Now, feeling the body heating up or feeling a little feverish, this is also stula avastha. Having a dry mouth, again, a stula avastha. Causing giddiness or, the kind of feeling dizzy, right? This one is again stula avastha. Could result in headache. Again, it is in the bodily form. Now, it can impact the breathing. This comes into the sukshma avastha, right? Which means it is subtle in nature. There could be a shortness or a heaviness in breathing, right? Now, unsettled tummy or tummy aches. This is also a pranan, right? So you feel like, butterfly in the stomach kind of a thing, and all they say that is what is going to happen when there is going to be anxiety. And this can be at a very high rate, right? Then muscular fatigue. This is also pranan, right? Then it's called as horripilation or goosebumps. Goosebumps is a common word, right? Or piloerection, right? This is again a pranan related thing. It can be manifested both in this stula avastha and the sukshma avastha. Feeling tense, shaky, weak, or tired, feeling unsettled, restless, feeling teary eyes, all those things are again aspects which are associated with anxiety disorder. Now, Arjuna expresses most of this anxiety disorders in his feeling. But the greatness is he is truthful to what he is feeling. And that is what makes him a Uttama Adhikari for the learning purposes. Right? The best one to learn, we will talk about it too, is one who has got a clear line between how he feels and how he expresses his feelings. When there is a duality, the ability to learn decreases. And here we can see Arjuna having such an anxiety, yet overcoming it because he is honest to his, what do you say, feeling and expressions and emotions. So that is something that we learn from this shloka. Now, let us understand or let us analyze this misunderstanding. The first one, as I mentioned, is associating Varna to birth. This is a social taboo. Right? Kula Dharma is considered to be more preserved if the marriage is pursued in closer circles. Again, a wrong misconception. It is totally a misconception. Right? So we need to understand that Kula Dharma is totally different from the Varna Ashrama Dharma. And Varna Ashrama Dharma is based on individual nature and not directly related to birth. Dharma is committed practice of Kula Dharma from one point of view. There are various aspects of Dharma about which we have spoken earlier. Here, the Kula Dharma is practicing that Kul's, traditions, right, in action, not in words. Right. But one must keep in mind that change is absolutely acceptable. It is not only acceptable, it is inevitable, it is unavoidable. Then the emphasis is to ensure continuation and allow the evolution. There may be some changes that will come, and it is okay. But having that commitment to the Kula Dharma is more important. To this, we hold the Kula Devata as the pillar for the Kul. So once you hold the Kula Devata, it will automatically be associated with Kul, and the change is once again going to be pillared around this Kula Devata. And that is why we have the Kula Devata. And if one doesn't know what the Kula Devata is, and if one doesn't have an ability to go back to find out the Kula Devata, then adopt a Kula Devata and start from there. And allow that to continue in the tradition. Right. So Kula Dharma is the foundation to Sanatana Dharma. If you take the example of Christianity, Islam, they are removing this aspect of Kul and they are saying, follow me. I will guide you. I will lead you and you just blindly follow me. And they do that. And this is convenience. And convenience is always something that people embrace. But such an act has led to the destruction of so many civilizations: Mayan, Mesopotamian, Egyptian, Roman, Anglo Saxons, right? So everywhere you see, in fact, even in Fiji, right? The Sanatana Dharmi are still holding their ground, whereas the traditional, people might be, they are all converted into Christianity by now. There is no traditional Pacific Islandership that is maintained by them. A Fijian culture is slowly, it has been, it will remain, but in terms of adoption, it will all be adopted into another culture where somebody guides you. Right. The greatness of Sanatana Dharma is it not only empowers you, but also mandates you and puts the responsibility on you to continue the Kula Dharma and allow various kuls to come together to form the society. And that diversity is the seed to the creation. Right. So that aspect is emphasized in Sanatana Dharma. Buddhism has survived, but even here, there are lots of conversions, and it's pretty significant in nature. But going on, Vedic traditions have by and large prevailed. The way our ancestors prayed could be significantly different to the way we are doing it today. But we continue to honor the Kula Devata and Grama Devata, and we pursue the path of finding the truth and not believing in one coming and telling you this is what the truth is. By nurturing and growing the Kul, we enable this aspect, which is the pursuit of truth which is an individual responsibility and not something that somebody can tell you. If we are doing this Vedantic studies, right? In this Vedantic study, there is a Upanishad that comes in wherein the Guru says that, hey, this is what the Parabrahma is, or this is what that Chaitanya Amsam is. But if you say that you have understood, then your understanding requires further analysis. Means you have not understood. Because it is the difference between a subject and an object. We will talk about all these things as we go into Bhagavad Gita. That is what Bhagavad Gita is all about. But the fact is, pursue the search for truth. There will be, to some degree, a guru can take you. There is a story in which the guru takes you half a distance and the rest of it you are asked to walk yourself. Right. So the directions will be shown by the guru, and after that, the march has to be your own to find the truth. So it's a very beautiful culture. Just wanted to touch upon it as part of this to say how Arjuna has misunderstood. Moving on, further analysis. The word used is pradushan. It is a common word, pollution, or it also impairing or defiling or spoiling and corrupting and misunderstanding, etc. Given that several Kshatriyas will be killed, women may be forced to marry across different kuls. This will lead to the Kula Dharma being destroyed. This is what Arjuna has said. But the truth is, if the kingdom is on the path of adharma, the gram and the kul under that kingdom will be destroyed. So, to protect a kingdom, even sacrificing a gram or a kul is dharma. We have seen it before. Right? Kulasyarte ekam tyajet. Right? That comes in the, I think it is in the Arthashastra or Manusmriti, forgot. Right. So, Kulas, that place where the emphasis is this is what is dharma. It is okay so long as we preserve that dharma. Right. So that is the place where to protect the kingdom, we can absolutely sacrifice. So this war is not wrong. It is the duty of the priestly community who don't come into the war to enable sustenance and organic growth of the kul under such calamity. Kula Dharma Anushasan is more practiced by female in the household. This is a very important value, right? People have asked the question as to why, after marriage, the female has to go to the male's house. Why is that kind of a thing? Why is it so? Is it misogyny? Or is it like, uh, sh- uh, showing a very bad culture? So that kind of a thought is there. The reason is because the adoption of the other kul and enabling and growing the other kul into a rich tradition of its own is only possible by the female. If you go to a male's house when he is a bachelor or something, there won't be anything. He may be living off a suitcase and a small, cot or something for his rest. That's all. But as soon as he gets married, within 1 or 2 years, you will see so many things that have come into the house. The reason is because the female has the natural ability and tendency to cultivate and grow that kshetra, right? Which is not there in the male. As part of it, maintenance and the upliftment of a Kula Dharma is more in the hands of the female than in the hands of the male. That needs to be understood. Here, Arjuna has missed that point. And that is the reason why female are married across the Kul. Even today, there are traditions which prevent or prohibits the marriage within the same gotra, right? Within the same lineage. The samskara is not practiced but preached. Important lesson. Learn from your Kul. Talk to your family. Find out. Right? And if in case there are differences, and you see that there is some value, you can always adopt. No wrong, nothing wrong at all. But try to work with that. Encourage the family to practice them, right? And connect across the cousins and grandparents, uncles, aunts, right? As old as the people can get, take their advice, find out what it is. And if it is not acceptable, it is okay. We can always take it to an acceptable form. Change is not restricted. Engage with the learned to identify possible reasons as the generations to follow will be inclined to ask. Our previous generations and all, perhaps they never asked their parents because their father did, we had to do, and we will continue doing it. That is the way that the mindset was. But with such an explosion of information, I think it is very important to find out some of the reasons and ensure that that rational aspect is also conveyed to the children. Honestly communicate and emphasize the importance of Kul being the identity. Samskara is learned only through the eyes and not the ears. Nurturing and growing the Kul is our responsibility. So this is a very valuable lesson, because when we say Kshetra Paripalana, these are the important seed to the Kshetra Paripalana. Moving on to the 42nd Shloka. The Shloka goes like this. Sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro yesham lukta pindodaka kriyaha. Now, Sankaraha. Once again, context in this place is cross-breeding of children. Narakaya eva will bring about a hellish life. Kulagnanam, for those who are the killers of the Kul, those who contribute to the destruction of the Kul. Kulagnanam, kulasyacha, as well as the family. That is, the male members of the family being killed equates to killing the family, right? So here that is the way the interpretation comes in, as well as, right? Patanti, fall down, pitaraha, forefathers, he, certainly, indeed, esham, for them, which is the forefathers in this context, lupta pinda udaka kriyaha. Lupta is will stop, will cease. Pinda udaka kriyaha. Right? The offering of the pind and water, which is udakam. Right? So this will stop. That is his point. And it is an important thing. I know that in Fijian tradition, we do it on the after the Salina, we don't do it. Right after 1 year, we don't do it. But if you take any traditional, Indian, this thing, you will see that every Amavasa, this, Udakam with the till is offered. Right? It's called as Tarpan. And every year, the Shraddh is also performed. So it is very important that we perform these functions. Right here, what he says is, if such an aspect, the destruction of the Kul takes place, the forefathers will also be affected, is what he is trying to make a point here. So first thing, every new moon day, we perform something called as a tarpan, right? So the tarpan is a very simple exercise wherein we name 3 generations of our forefathers, both on the maternal and the paternal side, as well as offer for all the known and unknown Pitrus. Right? So what we do is we take till and water and we just do it as an offering. Right? So that is a good idea to do it. Every year on the Tithi, which is on the day of the death, right, we perform a Shraddha. Right? This includes some kind of a homam or agnihotra, a havan, a fire ceremony. Now, as per the Garud Puraan, upon death, you take a body of the size of a thumb and you are taken to see the Yamalok, to see Yamadharma Raja within 3 to 4 Muhurat, approximately 3 hours. After you go to the Lord Yamadharma Raja, you are brought back into the same household which is yours, no matter where you are dying. Right? Your base house is the place where the body or this, Preta Sharir is brought. Then, when the daily offerings are made, right, in traditional places, you'll see that every day we will be making the offer. Or some people do it like in some of the cultures, in Fijian culture, they do it on the 10th day with 10 pind being given for one for each day. Right? So that is more of a shortcut. But the thing is, every day you offer, which will make this Preta Sharir to take up the size of your arm. Right? So that is the size that it grows. On the 11th and the 12th day, the thirst and the hunger is quenched by the offerings that we make. On the 12th day, the life form of Preta is united with the Pitris. And after that, you only call it as Pitri, and after that, you don't use the term Preta. Right? So that is one thing that we start performing. And this is the aspect of the death. After that, every month, right, the first lunar month in the world is, one lunar month in the world is 1 day in Pitraloka. 1 year is 1 day in Devaloka. Right. So that is the calculation. So offering that we make are basically daily in Pitraloka scale of time. The ideal time to do this offering of water is towards the afternoon, Madhyanika Kalam. However, the Shraddha, which is the annual ceremony, is performed during the early morning, near the Suryodhaya, but before the Madhyanika Kala. Right? So that is the tradition, that is the way that it is said. So I thought I can just share it with you. Again, if in case there are different traditions that follow different methodology, it is not wrong. This is a general overview of how things are said in various shastras. Or if in case it has come through some of the lineage, it is this information. But remember, performing is a punya karya. Pitru Kaaryas are not only something that you offer to the Pitris, but also something that earns you a lot of punya. So it's a very nice thing to do, and I thought I can make a mention of it today. Moving on to the 43rd shloka. दोषैरेतैकुलघ्नानां वर्णसङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्मा कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः. So here, doshai etaihi. When it joins, it becomes doshai retaihi. But the two words are doshai and etaihi. By all those, etaihi, committing sinful acts. Dosh is a common word that is used. Kulagnanam, of those who destroy, of those who are the destroyers of the family, of those who destroy the family. Varna Sankara Karakaihi, right, will become the cause of Karaka. Karaka is the instrumental cause. Basically, it is a cause of, what do you say, Karakaihi, for Varna Sankaraha, which is the children born with mixed culture. And because of that, Utsadhyante, a complete destruction of Jati Dharma, of the caste-based tradition, as well as Kula Dharma, Cha is and Kula Dharma, right? The dharma that is followed by specific lineages. Shashvataha, the destruction will be eternal forever. Right. So that is the basic meaning of the shloka. By all those who are the destroyers of the family, by committing such sinful acts, which becomes the cause for the undesired children, the practices of the caste-based traditions and also the family traditions will be completely destroyed eternally, forever. So that is the context of this shloka. Now, we see the ignorance is further expressed by Arjuna here. This is only an assumption of Arjuna. There might be unexpected or impactful changes. Those changes are not denied. But to assume that there will be an eternal and absolute destruction is the error here. So change is constant even between generations. So changes are kind of inevitable. Dharma is far greater and will evolve because it is only dharma that prevails. You can go on the adharmic path as much as you want, but eventually it will be the dharma that prevails. No, it doesn't mean that we don't have to do anything. Oh, anyway, dharma will prevail, so I don't have to do anything. No, that will be a wrong thought. For this, Bhagavan will say in second chapter, the famous 47th shloka, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetuhu bhuhu ma te sangaha astu akarmani. Don't get bound by akarmani, by inaction. Right? Look into the value of the scriptures and practices. Evolve them. Understand that they are essential to set the course of our life in the right path. Life is more than something that you experience or know. And that we all know, but we tend to overlook it. We tend to look at life as what we experience. But inside of us, what we also witness is these experiences are very uncertain and keeps changing. While there are favorable experiences that we embrace and we celebrate it as life, the fact is life is beyond that experience. And everyone, the moment this word is said, can reflect it on themselves and realize that life is more than the experiences that the life gives you. Right? So that is a very, very important value to keep in mind. So one clarification on the Jati Dharma. The term Jati means belonging to a category. That's all. It has been very badly used, right, since the English categorization towards the late 19th century, right? But before that, there was jati, but it was not a division in the society. It is categorization in the society, and such categorizations are inevitable, right? And particularly because of the very complex nature in which society works, there will be divisions and it will still be there. It could be based on the profession. Now you are a software engineer. Now you are a, what do you say, banking guy. You are a real estate person. You are a handyman. So all these things are nothing but jati. That is what divisions are. And divisions are unavoidable. Right. Now, there are places where in Sanatana Dharma, there will be people who come off to say that there is no jati that is mentioned in the Shastra. But in Bhagavad Gita, you can see a direct reference saying Jati Dharma. So Arjuna is speaking about Jati Dharma, which means jati prevailed at that time too. But it was seen as a dharma. It was not seen as up, down, etc. There was no classification. Jati is a dharma. It is, what do you say, for that class, for that category. Right. So, but those who say the jati is not defined in Sanatana Dharma are also accurate. There are no scriptures that define and characterize jati. Jati Dharma is unwritten. Now, the classifications, the ups and downs, etc., they are merely social issues. They are not Sanatana dharmic issues. They are not the issues based on the text, the scriptures that we have, the Shastras that we have. So that is another important thing that we need to keep in mind. And jati is unavoidable, but it is only a transactional convenience, not something to look up or down upon. That is something that we have to keep in mind. Moving on to the 44th shloka. Utsanna kula dharmanam manusyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavati yanushruma. I know that niyatam, that immatra is hidden. I think I need to adjust it. Anyway, getting into the shloka. Utsanna, when destroyed. Right? Technically, it means when the existence of something is removed. Ut, to lift, and sanna is derived from sat, the existence. So lifting from the existence is the way the utsanna is formed. Kula dharmanam, the traditional practices of kula dharma. Manushyanam, of such people, right, for whom the kul has been destroyed. Hey Janardana, O Lord Krishna, one who removes the sufferings of the people. Jana ardhati means one who destroys the jan, but that means to destroy the sufferings of the people. That is the contextual meaning. I think we spoke about this in Vishnu Sahasranama. Narake, in hell, niyatam vasah, they always reside in. Bhavati iti anushruma. That is what it becomes. When you don't follow the traditions, it is said that you will be destined to the hell, and that is what it is said, anushruma. Basically, traditionally, it is being conveyed. There are scriptures also that convey this, but not from the point of view of Jati Dharma, but from the point of view of papam and punyam, from the point of view of sins that one commits. And this one, if in case you ignore it, if you say, I don't care about it, that is a sin. But if in case a change is brought, it is not. Right? So that is something that we need to learn and evolve from it. So here, Arjuna's point is, hey, if in case this happens, then it is only going to be the hell into which we all will go and reside. Just overwhelming emotions. So let us revisit the Pitru concept. No matter which loka you are destined to, based on karma, you are bound by samsara. In other words, if you go to Pitru Loka, or if you go to Swarga Loka, or if you go to Brahma Loka, you are still bound by the samsara. It is only the nature changes, but you are still bound. It is freeing up yourself from that bondage which brings about the moksha. The term Pitru denotes ancestry. There are 60,000 Pitrus who are supposed to be living in the Pitru Loka. This Loka is ruled by Aryama. In Shantipat, you would have heard this name, Aryama. Our experience is the lineage branches out top down. You know that. As I was giving it an example earlier, my grandfather might have had four brothers. And those four brothers, how they have branched out and where they are, maybe I don't even know. Right? In Fiji, perhaps it is well known because the connections are so close and somehow they are tied. But right, in a country such as India, the what do you say that the way that they branch out is totally becoming unknown to us. Our actions have a direct impact to the family, both sins and the merits. Right? Say, if I'm going to be performing very well, if I earn a gold medal, the entire Kul gets the benefit of pleasure from that achievement. Right? Not only the family, but also the cousins and others, those who know you. It depends on the scale of your success, but you see that lineage will obviously come and embrace it. They always love it. There will be jealousy, no doubts about it. But there will be pleasure in general. That is one thing that we have to take into consideration. So when you do good things, similarly, if in case you do a bad thing, I may be a distant cousin to somebody who has done a robbery, right? They may identify me as someone who is associated with that robber, right? So what I do always affects me, my family, and my cult. For convenience, I'm going to say Pitru is like a body in the Pitru Loka, representing your Kul. When you make something wrong, when you perform something sinful, we say that the Pitru is impacted. Right. Similarly, if in case you do something good, they heal. As I was telling, it is said that in the tradition, in our tradition, it is said that moksha, for one person who attained the moksha, all the injuries in the pitris or all the dosham in the pitris are removed. And new doshams will come because of the dynamic nature. But that is the greatness of the moksha. Pitru dosha, this deficiency that you bring to the pitru is called as pitru dosham. Pitru is also not performing the duties towards your Pitris. Okay. Similar to Devatas, Pitris are also dependent on the offerings that we make to them. We should hold the same reverence to doing the Pitru Kaarya as one would to performing Deva Kaarya. In the 36th Shloka, we spoke of Atatayi, those who commit very socially impactful sins. Generally, sins can be healed through some prayaschitta karma. However, sins of Atatayi does not even heal with the prayaschitta karma. That is the effect that you leave on the kul. With punya, naraka tapam can be reduced. Ananya bhakti, an unconditional surrender to the God, will heal everything. Bhagavan will say that later, and we will definitely look into it. These are important value for us, and realize that you are not just an individual. You are a part of a lineage in every birth you take. Today, you are in this lineage. In the next birth, you could be elsewhere totally. Right? And you could be in Loka too, but it will be a part of a lineage. That lineage can never be overlooked. And our commitment to that lineage is the greatness, that is the gratefulness that we express for having taken this birth in this lineage by our own choice. So, one of the great values for this shloka. Now, when we attribute this to Kshetra Paripalana, your existence in this world is borrowed. Your birth is borrowed from the Pitras. Your body is borrowed from the earth. Your current state is borrowed from your parents, the village, the place you grew, and the people who enabled that. Now, gaining wealth, position, fame, success is a reward for your merit. Such reward is like a responsibility awarded to you for having demonstrated the potential in you. It is not a success to consume. Of course, one should celebrate. It is not a success to consume. It is a success to enable others. When we have that ideology, that is what is Kshetra Paripalana. You commit a sin when you don't discharge this responsibility. Bhagavan will say in the 3rd chapter that those who eat like that without giving it to others are like thieves. That is the word that Bhagavan will use. So we will get to that. But the concept is this aspect which we should carry in our heart. Dharma Rakshana. It is not success which must drive you, but the sense of righteousness which should drive you. Learning and ensuring the adoption of dharma in your path is your duty. Swadhyayam, having learned the dharma, putting the dharma as a practice in your life, and pravachanam, ensuring that you pass on this knowledge about righteousness to the next generation, not enforce. Dharma is not something that you enforce. Law is enforced. Dharma is cultivated. So work towards cultivating the nature of dharma. And that is how you do the dharma rakshana. The last part is moksha prayathanam. The purpose of this life itself is for attaining moksha. A person who is born as a human being, right? It is, what do you say, those who are not able to make use of this life are considered to be really, very sorrowful state, right? They are those on whom we have to show compassion, is the way Upanishads put it, right? So having taken birth as in the human form, and it is immaterial, right? For all the varnas, this is applicable, right? All the varnas are equally, what do you say, certified or qualified for attaining the moksha. There is no varna bhedam here, right? Moksha is an exercise where you develop your intelligence, vivekam. You strengthen your vairagya. Vairagya is, the determination and being, showing no to the things that bring about just mere pleasure. Right? So having a control on yourself, right? The determination to say no and not fall for things. That is what is vairagya. Then we say Shat Sampattihi, Shamam, which is, uh, your internal peace that you create into yourself, right? Shamam is the control that you have in your mind. Then damam is the control that you have in your indriyas. Then uparamam, right? The ability to, what do you say, lift yourself up. We will talk about uparamam later, right? Titiksha, being able to persevere. Shraddha, having a belief in what is being said, that it is the right direction. Then samadhanam, being at peace with yourself. So you should not have a blind Shraddha, right? You must allow that Shraddha to cultivate in you wherein it strengthens. That is what is Shraddha. Then Samadhanam. The last one is Mukshutvam, the deep desire in you to strive for moksha. This is achieved through Shravanam, Mananam, and Nitidhyasanam. Right. There are schools, sometimes they come up and say that first you do the Shravanam, then you do the Mananam, and we do the Nitidhyasanam. In our school, we don't say it that way. It is an exercise that we continue for our life. It is not something that you get addicted to. Right. If in case you get addicted to Shravanam, that is going to restrict you in terms of true moksha, because you get information, but you do not get the jnana. The Shravanam must be followed by Mananam, right? When you listen, we say that between 1 to 20% is what goes in. But Mananam on that 20% or 1% is very important for that to get into your life. And Nitidhyasanam is a voluntary effort plus involuntary effort to live based on that dharma that you have done the mananam upon. We say that once a specific knowledge has been acquired, it is but your general nature. It is just a human tendency to fall into that particular knowledge. But till the time the knowledge is registered into you as jnanam, that nitidhyasanam automatically does not take place. So what we need to do, we need to put an effort to try to live into that dhyana, into that nitidhyasana, whatever the value that you have taken, and slowly evolve from that. But when you do this, and when you are in that position where your vivekam, vairagyam, your shat sampatti, and the mumukshutvam is high, then you have been doing the Shravanam, Mananam, and Nitidhyasanam, that Jnana Nishtha of Atma is but inevitable. Bhagavan will say it is very easy, and Bhagavan will also say it is very difficult. Right. So we will talk about those things when we are in the respective chapters. A very important and a very beautiful value that we get from this shloka. Time is 7:26. Okay, highlights. This is the same thing. I don't want to repeat, but basically, okay, this is important. There may be questions that people may ask, which is, what happens if in case there is a Pitru dosha? I haven't been doing that. I haven't been doing the Tarpanam. So what should I do? Right. The effects of Pitru dosha are, one, peace in the home will be lost or challenged. Right. Vigna, or the hurdles, will be encountered in performing auspicious activities. Delay or hurdle in marriage and birth of children. Unnatural or continuous deaths will be experienced in the family. And effort to results ratio will increase. How much effort I put to get the same result will naturally increase. It doesn't mean if this happens, you have a Pitru dosha. Right? If you have a Pitru dosha, these are all the effects of Pitru dosha as told in the Shastra. If you have a Pitru dosha, the upayam, you see, if you have wantonly done it, this upayam doesn't work. I didn't know, but I got to know of it, and I see that there is a value in it. If you come to that thought, they say, go into Prayagraj and Kashi. and performing a Shraddham there, and then continuing, not and then continue, and when it's possible, go into Prayagraj and Kashi for doing the Shraddham. That is one value they talk. Renunciation and adherence to one food item in Kashi. Right. So when you go to Kashi, you can, when you take the Ganga Snan, you can let go of one of the favorite items. Right. So that is very much one of the ways to think of it. Another one they talk about is Gaya Shraddham. Gaya Shraddham is given a very high position in our culture. Then committing to Pitru Kaaryas going forward. These are all the dosha upayam. If one argues saying that, hey, we don't do it in our kul like this, then your kul has the right to override this. So if in your tradition this is not done, then don't bother about it. Don't think these are all affecting you. What am I going to have? That kind of fear is not required. The objective here in this class especially is to bring the knowledge, not to bring the fear. If this statement or if this class has induced a fear in you, then remember that you have not gotten the message of this class. Right? This class is leading you towards abhayam. Right? Like in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya says, abhayam prapnoti, abhayam vai prapnoti janaka, is the way that he puts it. Right. So this is for removal of the fear, not for putting the fear into you. Right. So this is an information. Take it up, analyze it, find it out. And if you feel that you can do. If you feel that it is not really applicable, make the conscious choice of not doing it as well. But if it is like, I have to do, but I don't want to do, then that is a place where the Pitru dosha, etc. are coming. And that resistance in itself is a hurdle for you in the path of Gyan. Don't have that resistance is the main thing that I want to communicate here. But with this, we will stop our class today, 7:30, and we will go into the Q&As. Okay, we will start with Jyoti ji. Jyoti ji, namaskar.
Namaste, Nashi. I have no questions.
Sure, thank you. Prabhakar. I see you unmuted, sir. But we can't hear you. No, we can't hear you, Prabhakar. You can type it out if you want. I'm seeing the message right now. While he is doing that, Ravi Bhaiya.
Uncle Ji, I have no question. Thank you.
Thank you. Sanjay ji.
Guruji, I have no questions, but I do want to comment that your voice is beautiful, the way you say the Shlokas.
Thank you.
It's mesmerizing. And also, it's very nice to hear the way you explain everything and in so much detail. I really appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Okay. Shubhaji.
I don't have any questions, Nashi. I will have to, today I got disconnected. I was not able to listen the entire class. So when will this be uploaded, Nashi?
It will be uploaded in another 5 minutes. It is already there, but
okay.
But it takes about a day before I can actually edit it. So the editing will happen.
Okay.
That is initially the first 1 minute or so will be bad, but you can just
that is fine.
and go into the actual class.
Yeah.
That edit will happen in about a day, 2 or 3. Depends on when the YouTube makes it available.
No problem. Thank you, Nashi. Thank you for all your help.
No issues. Thank you so very much. Well, we will do the Shanti part and close the class today. Harihi Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.